Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the important news and editorial that are relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 7th of February. The first important news about the voice deepfakes, its generation, used and misused. This is from the text and context page of the Hindu. Second, Prime Minister inaugurate India's Energy Week 2023. We'll see the detail about this and the vision which India has encapsulated in terms of India's Energy Week. Third, Supreme Court to hear plea to an annual lawyer elevation as a judges, a controversy and a tussle between center and judiciary between the Supreme Court is there. So we'll see the part of the challenges that is emerging from the judiciary. Second last, in a first naval LCA lands on INS Vikrant. And the last is an editorial, the demand for Manrega is unmet. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin the session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do press a like button. Starting the first news, that is voice deepfakes, its generation, used and misused. This particular news is important for General Studies Paper 3 under the subtopic of General Studies, that is Science and Technology, Development of New Technology, Challenges and Concern. So recently, several users of the social media platform like 4chan have used speech synthesis and voice cloning service provider like 11 Labs to make voice deepfakes of celebrities like Emma Watson, Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro. Before we had a discussion about the deepfakes which was there in videos. Right? I have make you understand how the cloning of the personalities like Vice President and even the President of United States, actors like Brad Pitt, their pictures, the videos were manipulated and the videos were deepfaked. Now in that context only, where the discussion is about the voice deepfakes. You must have come across the video deepfakes. If not, do check it out in the playlist section of the video. You might get that part. So dono context important hai examination ke liye, either a voice deepfakes or a video deepfakes. There can be a question because this is related to the present context of science and technologies development. So deepfakes audios made racist, abusive and violent comments, making deepfake voices to impersonate with other, which is consent, is a serious concern that could have a devastating consequences, right? Definitely, if an individual is not involved and someone is using his or her voice, will definitely call for a lot more fraud that take place. There are good number of examples that is there. I'll discuss that example in the later part of the video. First, understanding what are the other important aspects in the voice deepfakes. Now, what is voice deepfakes? The voice deepfake is one of that is closely mimics the real voice. This is a diagram which can help you to correlate with the point. The voice can accurately replicate tonally, even the accents, sedents and other are unique in character. So it's 100% unique that is matched via voice deepfakes. The people use artificial intelligence, robust computing powers to generate such voice clone or synthetic voices. Sometimes it can take weeks to produce such voices according to the specificity and even to text-to-speech conversation apps. So these are apps which have specifically and categorically said that the level of excellence is such high that even at the highest level of technician won't be able to recognize whether it is fraud or it's an original one. Now, how are the voice deepfakes created? What are the procedures that is involved? To create a deepfakes, one need a high-end computers are essentially required as a hardware, and powerful graphics card, leveraging cloud computing, software, and even other part is essentially required. Powerful computers hardware can accelerate the process of rendering. Rendering is a process once you record anything, either it's a video or voice, you have to render it to get a final output, right? So which takes an hour and even days, even weeks, depending upon the processors that you're using. Suppose for a hypothetical example, if you're using i3, i5, i7 or processors are there, accordingly the speed differ and the rendering process is impacted. Besides the specialized tools and software, generating deepfakes need training data to be fed on the artificial intelligence mode. These data are often original recording that targets personal voice, even individual voice, and AI can be used in this data to render the authentic sound voice, which can then be used to say anything. Now, threats that are arising from the use of deepfakes, attackers use such technology to defraud users, steal their identity, engage them with various illegal activities like phone scam, posting fake videos on social media platform. It can be a number of examples that can be taken into consideration when it comes to video fakes or deepfakes, voice deepfakes. According to the Speech blog post, back in 2020, a manager from the Bank of United Arab Emirates have received a phone call someone believed was the company's director, and what they did, the manager recognized the voice and authorized the transfer of $35 million, a huge amount that was transferred, and the manager has no idea that the company director voice was actually cloned. Now, in other instances, the frauders has used the artificial intelligence mic, and even they have mimicked the business owner voice, where the CEO of UK-based energy firm has immediately transferred a sum of $243,000 to the bank account of an Hungarian supplier for the particular company's procurement that has been done. So the voice belonged to a frauder who spoofed the CEO of the Wall Street that reported in 2019. So these are some of the evidential cases that has been globally reported with the fraud of deep voice cases. The tools that are used for voice cloning, some of the prominent cloning apps or tools that is used is OpenAI Valley, My Own Voice, Resemble, Descript, Respeecher, and iSpeech are some of the tools that can be used for the voice speeching or voice cloning. Now, Respeecher is the software that is used as a Lucasfilm to create a Luke Skywalker in the voice of a Meridorian. So this is how the things actually work. There are a lot of many things that is involved in a voice deep cloning or voice deep fakes. Now, ways to detect the deepfakes, voice deepfakes किस तरह से detect की जा सकती है? Detecting voice deepfakes need highly advanced technology such as software, hardware to break down. Speech patterns are taken into consideration, background noise are being matched, and other elements. Everything, unanimously take into consideration, and a match is being done to figure it out whether it's a false one, it's a fraud voice, or it's an original one. Cybersecurity tool has yet to be created to foolproof the way to detect the audio deepfakes and specify that have specifically noted. Research lab use watermarks and blockchain technologies to detect the deepfakes. I'm specifically talking about the voice deepfakes, and to design outmost deepfakes detectors and constantly involving. This is what Norton is a company which basically they are involved in the part of the software developing antivirus are being developed by Norton. So they have categorically said, so this is how the blockchain technology is used to filter out the voice deepfakes. Now moving to the other news, Prime Minister inaugurate India's Energy Week 2023, something important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic of General Studies, that is government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So with the aim to showcase India rising power as an energy transition powerhouse, the Prime Minister of India has inaugurated India Energy Week 2023. And talking about India's energy demand, it has significantly increased in the coming year and reach up to 11% of the global demand against 5% currently. And the India Energy Week has touted India's first comprehensive energy event covering the entire value chain with its year of G20 presidency, which India is heading this year, and designated to ensure energy security, affordability, and accessibility. If you're appearing for prelims examination or mains, make sure you have ample points where you gather some of the specific factual information with regards to India's priority, India has overtaken with the G20 presidency. Now, more about the event. The event will bring down the leaders from traditional and non-traditional energy industries, government, academia to discuss the challenges and opportunity to a responsible energy transition at present. And it will be attended by more than 30 ministers across the globe. And during the program, the Prime Minister will participate in the roundtable interactions with the global oil and gas CEOs companies from different parts of the country and even across the globe. He will also launch multiple initiatives in the field of green energy. Now, one specific point that I wanted to highlight in the entire discussion, specifically when we talks about the energy transitions, something is related to ethanol blending program, specifically important for prelims and mains both. There can be a direct question that can be asked in examination. So ethanol blending program has been a key focus for the government of India to achieve the self-reliance in the field of energy. There's a part of ethanol blending that has changed and India has already achieved that. I think most of you must be aware. If not, do check it out. It's a very important factual information. Now, due to sustained effort, the government has ethanol production capacity, which is 6 times increased on 1340. The ethanol blending program and the biofuel program have not only augmented India's energy security, but has also resulted in the host of other benefits, which include reductions in 318 lakh metric ton of the carbon emissions, foreign exchange saving around 54,000 crore rupees. The government aims to achieve 20% of the ethanol blending. This is what I was talking about, of ethanol by 2025. And the oil marketing companies are setting 2G and 3G ethanol plant to facilitate this progress part. So the efforts and impetus are put from government end and invariably from other sectors, the stakeholders, they're trying their best to ensure that India is achieving 20% of the ethanol blending of the program. An analytical question in the mains examination can be framed that what are the effort that India has made in due course to ensure that ethanol blending program is working with the full potential and full progress. Now moving to the other news, in India, in a first naval CA lands on INS Vikrant, something important for General Studies Paper 3, under the subtopic of Achievement of India in Science and Technology, Indianization of Technology and Development of New Technology. Recently, a prototype of a naval variant of indigenously developed light compact aircraft, better known as LCA, they have undertook a maiden landing on the board aircraft carrier called INS Vikrant. INS Vikrant is again news and LCA की अगर बात करें ये कैपेसिटी इंडिया में बेसिकली और दूसरे कंट्रीज में जो ऑलरेडी इस तरह के पावर्स यूज करते हैं now India is also capable enough to land a LCA in a INS. The moment is described as a historical milestone for India's self-reliance in defense manufacturing by the Indian Navy. Separately, Russia's origin MiG-29K aircraft also undertook the maiden landing on the board INS Vikrant, country's first indigenous aircraft carrier. So INS is something which is again important for prelims examination. If you are preparing for CAPF examination, a direct question with regards to INS can be framed. Now, this is what the image officially released, the LCA that is there on the INS. Advantages की अगर बात करें, the successful landing takeoff with the LCA prototype from the INS Vikrant that is set to pay off for the development and manufacturing of the ambitious twin-engine deck-based fighter aircraft and Indian Navy by Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. This is the parent company of India which is manufacturing the other part of the LC. It is said that the landing demonstrated India capabilities and capacity to design, develop, construct and operate with the indigenously aircraft, which is an indigenous fighter aircraft. So LCA and INS both, India is at a state, it's a juncture where the development of defense equipment is more or less indigenous in nature. Aircraft carrier manufacturing की अगर बात करें, in September, Prime Minister ने INS Vikrant के बारे में कहा था that made country proud and even for the elite group of the capable manufacturing countries where we are manufacturing for more than 40,000 ton of the categories. तो बहुत ही advanced categories में इसकी manufacturing की गई है and we are on the league of the top world which is actually manufacturing such high tons of aircraft. Basically अब INS carrier से बात कर रहे हैं. INS is said to be an aircraft that would be able to play a role in ensuring the peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Indo-Pacific is something which is again pivotal to India, not in context of only with China because the Quad membership is also there. So India has been vocal on the part of Indo-Pacific. तो अगर आप IR के स्टूडेंट हैं तो इंडो पैसिफिक से रिलेटेड भी आपको सारी चीजें पता होनी चाहिए, राइट? Now, INS Vikrant is over 23,000 compartment designed for a queue around 1,700 people, including a specialized cabin, accommodate women officers as well. The carrier is a top speed around 28 knots and the cruising speed of 18 knots, that is an endurance of 7,500 nautical miles. So these are some of the specific technical details, might be relevant for the examination, although you don't need to write specifically all specific details. Essentially, आपको basic चीजें पता होना चाहिए. If you're falling out in this numbers also, it's not that important. Now, Supreme Court to hear plea to annul lawyers' elevation as judges. The Supreme Court has taken the cognizance of this part, something important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic, that is structure, organization and function of executive and judiciary. In a rare move, the Supreme Court has recently decided to hear a plea for restraining the lawyer Lakshmana Chandra Victoria Gauri from taking oath as a judge of the Madras High Court soon after an appointment was notified by the Centre. By Centre, I mean the President of India has given an assent. Centre cannot appoint that. It's only done by the President. And President is something that takes care of the government. And even the decision is unanimously made between the Centre and the President. So the bench headed by the Chief Justice of India put a plea of 3 Madras High Court lawyers opposing the proposed government appointment of Gauri hearing for February 10, but Supreme Court ने advance किया 7th February के, because it's find that the urgent intervention is required with the appointment that has been made by the central government. Now, issue of eligibility की बात की गई है. The issue of eligibility and even not the suitability part, which is a vital information that was there not before the collegium. See, any appointment that is made in the judiciary is being backed by collegium. Collegiums की तरफ से recommendation जाती है, then only the president get the appointment done. But in this case, there's a controversy. In recent time, there's a lot of tussle ongoing between the judiciary and the government. So, like in light of that, the thing has escalated to a higher extent, and this case might act as a catalyst to all things. The petition filed in the Supreme Court that the Gauri has shown an utter dissent and even fundamental right की violations की गई under Article 14 and 15. The plea has served directions and the record that the material before the Collegium of the Madras High Court and the Apex Court related to the resolutions that can be summoned. The issue of affiliations to political parties, it is being argued that the women, like the appointment that is being made, this is something that, like before that, a Madurai bench of Madras High Court has been made in a controversy, where after the emerging of her affiliations to the BJP was there. So what I'm trying to convey that the part of Gauri which is there in this particular instances of the cases, she's somewhere related to the political parties, and her appointment to the judges of Madras High Court will definitely call for some level of intervention by the political parties. So some bar members of Madras High Court has written to the Chief Justice of India, recalling for the recommendations that to be made for appointing Gauri as additional judges of the High Court, alleging that she made speeches against Christians and Muslim. So Muslim and Christian is again, in a specific region of the country, there has a population. And even India is a secular country, we cannot make any comment for any particular religion group. Now, this is a tweet from the Minister of Law, Mr. Kiran Rijiju. He has given the details of the individual who has been appointed for Chief Justice of High Court, even for Rajasthan, Patna, Manipur, and even judges of the Patna High Court and Allahabad High Court. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, the demand for Manrega work is unmet. A brilliant editorial that will give you an insight about the recent decrease in the Manrega allocations, and it has created a lot more chaos and controversies. The stakeholders are concerning why the government has reduced such level of demand that was already there by the government. Now, even for the stakeholders, if you see, there was a lot many demand that this particular allocations should be increased, but invariably the government has decreased that. Something relevant for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic, that is welfare schemes for the vulnerable section of the population by the centre and the state government. Now, what I'm going to discuss under this editorial, first talking about the theme. The theme is about Manrega Budget 2023 and 24. A demand-driven law, new job cards, case study, taking the note of contradictions and conclusion. In terms of Manrega budget, I have already made a detailed analysis part of the video on the budget. If you have not watched it, do check it out. And even you can find that on the playlist section of our YouTube channel. Now, in the union budget, the allocations to Manrega has been reduced to 60,000 crore rupees. This is for 2023-24. This is less than 0.2% of the GDP, the lowest ever allocation that has been made to a program like Manrega, where lot many people are directly or indirectly related to their livelihood options. And this is 18% lower than the earlier one, that is 73,000 crore rupees for the budget estimates, and 33% lower, that is like 89,000 crore rupees for the revised estimate. Even the World Bank economist has estimated that this time it should be 1.6% of the GDP, but the actual allocation is 0.2%. So this is an image from the budget where it says the revenue, the actual allocations were this much. The budget has estimated 73. This is for 2022 and 23. And for this 23 and 24, the total allocation is only 60,000 crore rupees, which is lowest among the recent times. A demand driven law की बात की गई है. मनरेगा is definitely a demand driven law. Every household को 15 days की work demand के लिए already applications देनी होती है, failing which they are legally entitled for unemployment allowances, per day की allowances दी जाती है. But in this, the demand aspect has suffered. Getting work and wage is a contingent. Even a household detail being entered in Manrega, that software is there now. मैनेजमेंट इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम जिसे MIS कहते हैं उसके थ्रू डिटेल ली जाती है. बट दिस इज नॉट द ओनली पार्ट. देयर आर अदर एम्बिग्यूटी दैट इज आल्सो इन्वॉल्व इन दिस केस, and transparency and even allocation of work is the foremost priority for the individual that is working there. The MIS has been used as a subvert to act, and one of which the work has a demand suppressions. Budget constraints की अगर बात करें, usually the fewer days to work of many household give many more days to work for, like the fewest numbers are there. Even जो low budget allocations हुई हैं उसकी वजह से जो total involvement है उसमें भी गिरावट आएगी. And even this budget that has been allocated, this will only last till November. Now, this is a ground reality where even the payment has been this has been put on hold from December till March, and once the budget allocation is done, the previous payment has to be done, and most of the amount is exhausted in paying the previous payment. So definitely government need to look into this aspect also, which is a very important component. New job cards की अगर बात करें, 2 new job cards were created, issues between 2019-20 and 2023, showing the continuous demand and the average number of the days employed continuously around 45 days, bearing a testimonies to the demand suppressions. National MIS reports में ये दिखाई गई है that the number of the household has demanded and got work, but no, we have to seek by the ground reality also. जो scrutiny की जाती है कुछ और NGOs के through, that thing also need to be taken into consideration. Now, there was a case study specifically made, a random case study was done in 10 panchayat, and the states include Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Kerala and West Bengal. तो analysis में ये पता चला that % day of work demanded and the work done for 11.14 lakh workers were 1400 panchayat. And the preliminary result does not account for situations when the work was offered, either they were absent or their details were missing from the work site attendance register. So the calculation and attendance part is also not taken care properly. Government has asked for a geo tagged of an individual. So it is a even technical bottlenecks of an individual who is not knowing that are creating a lot more problems. The methods called Bayesian hierarchy model was used to re-estimate the weightage of average percentage to unmet these days, that was 34%. Now, taking the note of contradictions, क्या contradictions की बात की गई है, एक study की गई थी, Ajim Premji University and Narega Consortium and Quad. This shows that the high level of unmet demand was there. And as per this, 39% of the household did not get a single day of work, wanting for 77 days average, right? So this is the ground reality, and those who got a work, at least one day has wanted 64 days more work. So the footfall is high, the work is less, and even to a larger extent, the demand are more. So there's a mismatch that is ongoing. The rural development claims, the rural development ministries claim that the low demand has resulted in the budget cut, but the reality is exactly opposite. This is what the study that was done by the Ajim Premji University has even showed, the evidential part. Now, to conclude this, the budget cuts have created a vicious cycle on a demand for suppletions, And even the payment delay for the overburdened field staff and corruption is something that is evidential. The future discourse worker from the Manrega work need to take care of this, and for the sake of transparency, the person day work demand must be readily available to each states. The ground report suggests that the recent introductions of an app to register the work attendance has only increased for the worker woes, and it is just the latest series of technical fix when a real problem is under funding and excess centralizations. तो हमें थोड़ी सी डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन करने की ज़रूरत है, फंडिंग को बढ़ाने की ज़रूरत है, and the program of Manrega has actually helped the rural India to get the livelihood options. Many more people are directly or indirectly dependent for their livelihood options. So definitely the government, if required, they can have an additional budget allocations to many states that is required, right? So this is how you can conclude your answers part. Moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, the correct option is C again. Today's MCQ for practice, Malabar exercise. It's an annual dialect and never exercise between navies of India, Japan, and United States of America. The exercise is held alternatively in Indian and Pacific Ocean. So do check it out for the correct option. Second question, that is Gender Inequality Index is released by World Economic Forum, UNDP, Save the Children, or Transparency International. Index and the reports are something that is important for UPSC and many other government examination. A direct question can be framed in this context. So make sure you're thorough with the point. This was all about for today's news and editorial discussion, followed by the MCQ. If you have any other concern, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.